Welcome back. For today, I have 5 crescent roll recipes. They all turned out fantastic. I can't wait for you to try them. This is cheesy chicken broccoli crescent foldovers. We're going to start off with 1 cup each of frozen broccoli florets, thawed, chopped deli rotisserie chicken, and shredded cheddar cheese, and then a can of crescent rolls. To make this, you want to mix together your broccoli, your chicken, and your cheese, and pop it in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds until that cheese just starts to melt. We're going to unroll the crescent dough. Instead of separating these into 8 rectangles, we're going to separate them into 4, so you'll be leaving 2 rectangles together for each one. Go ahead and give your chicken mixture a good stir, and then you can take about a half a cup of that and place it onto the short side of your rectangle. Then we're going to fold the other half of the crescent dough over to cover the filling, and then just use a fork along the sides to close it up and make a seam. Take your fork and poke a couple holes in the top of the crescent dough to allow for the steam to release while it's cooking. Now we're going to bake these in our oven set to 375 degrees for 13 to 15 minutes. We want that crescent dough to be cooked all the way through and brown and flaky. These were very good. They're very reminiscent of Hot Pockets. I think that this recipe could use a bit more cheese, but I like a lot of cheese on things. Other than that, it was perfect. They were delicious. Next up, we're making spinach rolls. For our ingredients, we have frozen spinach, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, cream cheese, 1 egg, and a can of crescent rolls. We're going to start out by separating our egg, and we're just going to use the yolk for this part, but save the white. So we're going to mix together the spinach, which we want to have thawed and drained, the cheese, so we've got the mozzarella cheese, the Parmesan cheese, and the cream cheese, and the egg yolk, and mix that all in a bowl together until it's very well combined. Next, we're going to take our crescent rolls and separate them into the individual 8 triangles. And now we're going to spoon a little of the spinach mixture onto each of the triangle and then roll it up into the crescent roll shape. Once that's done, we're going to brush the tops of these crescent rolls with the egg white, and then we're going to bake in a 375 degree oven for 14 to 16 minutes until they're brown and cooked all the way through. I thought these turned out very good and cheesy, and I think that they would be a really nice appetizer. This next recipe is Pillsbury crescent rolls with cheese. I did not use Pillsbury crescent rolls in this. It's just as well. It's all the same. This only has 3 ingredients, so it's 1 can of crescent rolls, mozzarella cheese, and then homemade garlic butter. This recipe is super simple. You want to start off by unrolling your crescent dough and separating them into triangles. Spread your garlic butter across each triangle. For the garlic butter, I just took softened butter and sprinkled in garlic salt until it tasted garlicky how I liked it. Add some of the cheese. You could use whatever kind of cheese you want. Mozzarella melts nicely, but for this I had garlic jack cheese in the fridge, so I used some of that and it worked out just fine. Next, we're going to roll up the crescents and put them on a pan. After you roll the crescents up, you want to pinch the ends together so that your cheese isn't leaking out the sides of the crescents. You can take the remainder of the garlic butter and pop it in the microwave so it's liquid. We're going to take that and brush it over the top of the rolled up crescents. We're going to bake these in the oven set to 375 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes until these are golden brown. These were so flaky and buttery and cheesy and garlicky. They were a perfect pairing for, lemon noodles or lasagna or anything kind of like with that Italian taste to it. I thought they were just delicious and they got eaten up really fast. These are magic stuffed cinnamon crescent rolls. For this recipe, we are using sugar, cinnamon, crescent rolls, marshmallows, and butter. We're going to start by spraying our pan. It specifies to spray the top of the muffin pan. These do kind of puff up and spill over, so I definitely thought that was a great suggestion. This recipe has a few steps to it, and we're going to set up kind of a dredging station like you would if you were breading chicken or something like that. So we're going to mix together our sugar and cinnamon in one bowl and mix that really well. And then in another bowl, we're going to melt the butter. We're going to roll out our crescent dough and separate it into the 8 separate triangles. Now we're going to take our marshmallows. These are the larger marshmallows, not the mini marshmallows. So you can take one marshmallow, dip it in your butter, and then roll it in your cinnamon and sugar mixture. You're going to take that dipped marshmallow and roll it up in the crescent. You want to pinch together all the sides and almost make this like a dumpling. That's kind of what I thought it looked like. You want to make sure all the edges are closed and it's sealed pretty tightly. Once that part is done, you're going to take the whole crescent roll ball and dip that into the butter and then roll that into the cinnamon sugar. Once the ball is completely coated, you can just put it into one of the muffin tin cups. We'll go ahead and repeat that for all 8 of the crescent rolls. Now we're going to pop these into the oven, 375 degrees for 12 to 14 minutes. You'll start to smell them when they're done, and they do kind of explode a little, so it's a good idea to put foil or another cookie sheet underneath the muffin tin to try to catch all that so the bottom of your oven doesn't get gross. There is an optional glaze that can go on this. So for the glaze, it's powdered sugar, vanilla, and milk. And the 3 of those just get mixed together until everything's smooth. And then you can just drizzle it over the top of these. This also says to top with chopped pecans. I did do that. I thought they were really good, but when I make these again, I think I'll put the pecans on the inside so that they stay together a little better. I just kind of felt like the pecans were falling off, just trying to stick to that glaze. These were delicious though. This definitely was probably the favorite out of all the recipes I made in this video. My family ate them up really fast. They already are requesting them again. I can't rave about this recipe enough. It was so good. These are mini cherry cheese danishes. We're starting out here with all of our ingredients. We're going to start off here with our can of crescent dough. We're going to open this up and not unroll it. Do not unroll it. We're going to slice it like you would a tube of cookie dough. You should be able to get 10 even slices out of a roll of crescent dough. We're going to lay these slices out on our pan. You can use parchment paper, or I've got the reusable non-stick mat that I use on mine. I just used a little bit of flour sprinkled on the top of these to keep them from sticking. And then I took a small measuring cup and pushed it down into the center so I have a little well made, and then you want your edges to be a little bit higher so it kind of creates like a little bowl or just a little edging to it so that your filling will stay in. Now for the filling, the recipe specifies you should use an electric mixer and mix your cream cheese, sugar, and vanilla. I didn't want to dig out my electric mixer, so I just made sure my cream cheese was soft enough, and I used a fork and just mashed it up until everything was soft and well combined, and it worked just fine. So, you know, if you want to put in the arm work and do it that way, that's what I did. It worked out great. Now you can take a spoonful, a dollop, whatever, of that filling and put it down. I basically made sure that the bottom of these little danishes were covered with the cream cheese mixture and there weren't any bare spots, and it was a little bit thick. I didn't want it to be too thin. Once you have your cream cheese mixture on all of your little danishes, you can do the same thing with the cherries. Just take a spoonful and put a couple of the cherries on, a little bit of the filling from the cherry pie filling. It's really just preference. If you want it to be more cherries, you do more. If you want it to be, you know, more of the filling or less of the filling for the cream cheese, just go on what you think you'll like. We're going to bake these at 350 for 18 to 20 minutes until the edges are brown and it looks like everything's cooked all the way through. There is a glaze for the top. It's powdered sugar and milk. These were delicious without the glaze, and they were good with the glaze. So either way, I think is completely fine if you want to skip the glaze and save a step. They still were really delicious, and these were eaten up pretty quick in my house.